Maths practice video by Andrew Brodie from AB Education. Trigonometry 1. Finding the size of an angle. This is the first of my videos on trigonometry. We can use trigonometry to find the sizes of angles in a right-angled triangle. All we need is to know the sizes of two of the sides. The long side is called the hypotenuse. The side next to the angle we call the adjacent because adjacent means next to. The side opposite the angle is not surprisingly called the opposite, and it's the only side that doesn't touch the angle. We use sine, cosine and tangent, otherwise known as sin, cos and tan. Now look at sin, cos and tan. We can use sin when we know the length of the opposite and the hypotenuse. We divide the opposite by the hypotenuse. We use cos when we know the length of the adjacent and the hypotenuse, and tan when we know the opposite and the adjacent. You may like to remember these as so, ka, toa. Remember that sin is equal to opposite over the hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. We are looking for the size of angle x. We can see the sizes of two of the sides. The hypotenuse is 6.4 centimeters long. The side opposite angle x is 4.8 centimeters. The hardest part of trigonometry is deciding whether to use sine, cosine or tangent. But we can see that we have the opposite and the hypotenuse, so the only one that uses these is sine. So sin x is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse, which is 4.8 over 6.4. Putting these into the calculator, 4.8 divided by 6.4 is equal to 0.75. The final step to find the size of the angle is to press Shift, then sin and equals to get 48.59 to 2 decimal places. So the size of the angle is 49 degrees to the nearest whole degree. Here's another triangle. You need to decide whether to use sin, cos or tan to find the missing angle. You could pause the video while you complete the activity. We know the sizes of the opposite and the adjacent. We can't use sin because that uses the opposite and hypotenuse. We can't use cos because that uses the adjacent and the hypotenuse. The only one we can use is tan because that links the angle to the opposite and the adjacent. So tan x equals 3.6 over 5.2. Dividing 3.6 by 5.2, the calculator shows 0.692307 recurring. Press Shift tan equals to get 34.695 to 3 decimal places, which we can round up to 35 degrees to the nearest degree. Here's the last example. You need to decide whether to use sin, cos or tan. You could pause the video while you complete the activity. We know the sizes of the hypotenuse and the adjacent. We have to use cos because that's the only one that links the angle to the hypotenuse and the adjacent. So cos x must be equal to 5 over 8, which the calculator shows is 0.625. Press Shift cos equals to get 51.32 to 2 decimal places, which we can round down to 51 degrees to the nearest degree.